This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred here in Liverpool. Eddie Hearn, thank you for joining me once again for the second time within about 18 hours. Weighing today, Smith-Fowler should whet the appetite for what will be an electric atmosphere tomorrow.
Buzzing for it. I mean, looking in that room there for the weigh-in, I think they've only got capacity for about 400. I think that's going to fill up quick. They're already outside. People drive me mad for tickets. A complete sellout tomorrow night. Huge show, and I can't wait for the main event.
I spoke to Shane McGuigan last night. We were talking about discipline for Anthony Fowler, dealing with not only the fight and what Liam Smith will bring, but the occasion as well. Do you think, though, at some point he's going to throw caution to the wind and they're just going to let it go in there?
Yeah, I think that both guys are going to have their tactics. That will change throughout the fight. That will change with the atmosphere and the pressure. I think there's two jobs for Fowler, was to stay calm in the build-up and stay calm on fight night. I think Shane's done a great job with number one of that. Number two will be answered tomorrow. But Liam Smith's super cool. He's experienced all these kind of big fights before. I think he's excited. He won't be overawed. It's up to Fowler to see if he can deal with that occasion and pressure. You know, it may affect him or he may thrive on it. But, you know, I think, like I said, once they hear this noise, once they see the atmosphere, I think you're going to get a thrilling fight.
What is most likely for either man if they win on Saturday night? Liam Smith's made no secret he wants the big fight if he wins this. I know Ted Cheeseman's kind of been banned around for Fowler, given they both got world rankings. What's likely for the victor?
I think, you know, one of the reasons that Anthony Fowler took this fight is because of the spoils that come with victory. For Liam Smith, he really wants that Jesse Vargas fight. So I think if he's victorious, I think you see him fight Jesse Vargas, either headlining in Vegas or back here at the arena. And for Fowler, it just blows his career wide open. You know, potential shots at world titles, world title final eliminators. He kind of puts himself well beyond the domestic scene, if you like, by beating a world-class fighter. So it's a massive fight for both. You know, for one guy, he wants to preserve his position and challenge for another world title. For the other guy, he just wants to completely blow the division wide open and put himself in a life-changing spot.
Just to touch on a couple of other things on the card, I believe Tasha Jonas and Rhiannon Dixon are no longer on the bill. Was that opponent issues?
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed with Joe Gallagher's comments because, you know, we'd agreed a deal with Natasha Jonas for her to fight rematch Katie Taylor for huge money or to fight for the world title on this card. They decided to take an 8-round fight instead. We gave them 6 opponents, of which they turned down every one of them. You know, some of them had been beaten, I think 4 in the last 6 fights. They came back with one opponent that I felt was unacceptable. We ended up accepting it, and then she was not available. And they came to me with another opponent who was 1-10 or 2-10. I just said no. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we're responsible for the fights that are made, and we want to keep people active. But you know, it just got to a point where, you know, and I see comments, you know, the promoters didn't provide an opponent. 6 opponents they turned down. You know, and I know that some people want to take easier fights, but Tasha's a world-class fighter, and there's nothing wrong with her fighting someone who's been beaten, you know, by Taylor on points, by Brackhouse on points, by Farias twice on points. But you know, she should be beating those guys easily. So I only get stick when you make a mismatch. I don't want to make a mismatch. That was her only chance. Rhiannon was very unlucky. Rhiannon got to a position where she had an opponent from France. I think on Tuesday or Wednesday they pulled out of the fight, and right now you can't get any opponents from South America, from Mexico, from Argentina, where a big bulk of those opponents come from because of the red list. And we had a very limited choice. Steve Wood worked tirelessly for Rhiannon Dixon all throughout the night with our matchmaker, and we could not make a match for her. Robbie Davis Jr. now steps in to fight instead, which is good news for him. And you know, we move forward. Unfortunately, Rhiannon will be out in the next couple of weeks, and then Robbie Davis Jr. will fight instead.
Robbie Davis Jr. been crying out for an opportunity. I'm sure he's delighted to get on this bill. Is the James Tennyson fight likely?
Yes, absolutely. This is a good spot for Robbie, because realistically he wants to run out under Shane McGuigan before he goes in the Tennyson fight. And the problem is having the spot and the spaces to run these guys out in that situation. James Tennyson wasn't ready for the Robbie Davis Jr. fight that was planned to go on this card, but has come back since and said, I would take that fight. So I think it's very likely you get Robbie Davis Jr. against James Tennyson.
Just a few more away from this card, Usyk-Joshua. We didn't speak about him yesterday. When was the last time you spoke to him? How is he and where are we at with everything?
Spoke to him a couple of days ago. He's good. He's back training as you'd expect. He's sort of got a few niggles from the fight that he's just letting heal. Just planning, really. I told him he needs some time away because he's got this kind of mentality where I don't want to go away. I just want to work. I want to improve. You've got to chill out. He had a massive camp. He had a big fight on the night. A lot of pressure, a lot to digest. So he's good. Back in training, and I'm going to meet up with Alex Krasuk at the end of the month and start making plans for the rematch.
Appreciate it's early days and you haven't really got down to the nitty-gritty of planning yet, but where does your gut instinct tell you this fight will be? I know you want the UK. Could the Middle East be an option? Where's it most likely?
Yeah, we've had some approaches from there already, and I'd like to do the fight back in the UK. Spurs was such a great atmosphere. I think March or April is the date. It's a little bit early to go outside, but we've done it before with Klitschko, so I think the UK is the front runner.
In terms of a couple of other things away from this, I've just seen David Price walking past me. Obviously announced his retirement a couple of days ago. You've worked with the big truck many a time. Just a word on the career and achievements of David.
Lovely, lovely fella. I think I'd like to be responsible for the back end of his career, where he made the most amount of money that he'd ever made in his career. I hope that he's financially in a great spot, emotionally in a great spot. One of the nicest blokes you'd meet, a really good fighter. Had some big wins, some big nights, had some disappointing nights as well. But let's be honest, always entertaining. Always entertaining. And a real nice family man. I wish him all the best.
We spoke about Fury-Whyte yesterday. If Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte both win, you said you want a bit more clarity first. But if that does sort of get put forward in writing to you, I don't know what the broadcasting situation is, but how aggressively would you guys be moving to have that fight?
It's a massive fight. And, Fury against Whyte is one that we look forward to making. Hopefully, Fury can get the win this weekend. But broadcaster-wise, not even something that I've thought about. Dillian Whyte can fight on any platform with us. I just want him to challenge for the world title. So we'll be working with a team, get the wins secured, get that in writing, how it needs to be. And, finally, hopefully he gets the chance.
I've seen some of the Tokyo Olympians floating around on the circuit recently. I've seen Fraser Clark the other day. We've got Peter McGrail on this bill as well. How soon do you think you'll be starting to announce some Olympic signings?
I think they're all in demand. I've never been one to harass fighters and turn up on their doorsteps and call them 8 times a day. But obviously a number of those Olympians are targets to us. We put different values on every fighter that comes through on a varied scenario and a varied basis. We've talked to and are talking to all of them, as are probably Frank Warren, Sky, everybody else. Let them take their time, let them digest the information. It's a big move for them. They're going to be putting their career in someone's hands. And, the most important thing is to put your career in the hands of someone that deep down you honestly believe is going to do a great job for you. I believe that we're number one on that list. And we'll see. Loads of them. At the moment, they're just getting free tickets everywhere. So loads of them will be here on Saturday. They were at shows last week. So it's a big move for them, big move. And I think sometimes you can look to turn pro, have all these meetings, but sometimes you just need to digest it all, take your time, make a balanced decision.
I was there at that Sky show, the start of the new era. Boxer had their thing going on, and then we saw the reported Sky figures from Adam Smith afterwards as well. Just wanted to get your take on what you thought of the start of the new era and then reported numbers as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Sky reported the numbers. I've never seen them do that before. They never did it when we were there. And, you look at our darts numbers are about 4 times that. They never report that either. But it's interesting. It's good that Sky have got the bit between the teeth. They're trying really hard. They never really did that with us. We were just sort of left to do stuff ourselves, and we had a great partnership together. The show, I didn't watch all of it. I watched React Poor, and innovation's good. I know there was a lot of comments about the heat map and this sort of stuff, but you've got to try things. Not everything works, but I think it's great. Listen, without Sky in boxing, the sport would be a weaker place in this country. I want them in boxing because I want my broadcaster to be as competitive as possible and as aggressive as possible. And that's a great situation to be in. So, I think whilst they're there and, whilst they're trying, it's good for the sport. And, I know that their main event fell through. They got medicals, was a pro. I don't know the exact story. But it's difficult. It ain't easy. Things come up in this sport and kick you in the nuts all the time. So, in that respect, it was a disaster start for them. But they, as they reported, apparently, it's got some good numbers. So it's great. And I think, people will always go, "What do you think of that heat map? Oh, did you see that? What's your comments?" Great. Adam Smith, great commentator, good mind. They're gonna keep pushing, and that's great. And then I think the fact that they're even trying is commendable because they've decided to sort of give it a go, which is good. Right, mate. Super feather for you next time. You seem well up for that.
Last one before I let you go. We've seen Luke Willis go past there, part of this action-packed card tomorrow night. If you had to just pinpoint one fight on the undercard that you think is guaranteed to catch fire without jinxing it, which one would it be?
Honestly, Cheeseman Williamson, for me, is just such a brilliant fight. Even Shannon Courtney's in a really, really tough fight. You saw Luke Willis there, Ryland Charlton, JJ Metcalf against Kieran Conway. Do you know what? I'm just going to go with Kamil Sokolowski against Solomon Dacus for me. It's a nice early one in the night. It's a really good heavyweight fight, but you could literally pick 5 or 6 from this packed card, and tomorrow night's going to be really special.
Eddie Hearn, thank you as always for making time for Boxing Social.